Hello everyone, I'm Bill Robichaud, the president of the Saula Foundation for Annamite Mountains Conservation. I'm talking to you from my home in rural Wisconsin. We have something quite special, in fact. The story of one of the Earth's most beautiful, rarest, and least known mammals, the Saula. This is where our story takes place in the countries of Laos and Vietnam. I lived in Laos on and off for 15 years or so, doing wildlife conservation work for organizations such as the Bronx Zoo. And that's where I've spent most of my time, so most of our story will be centered there, although it really does cover both Laos and Vietnam. As you can see, Laos is a very beautiful country. It has beautiful natural history, beautiful cultural history. Most of the country is Buddhist, but actually not all. Here I am with a family of a cultural group known as the Haw that live in the mountains of Laos. And in the mountains, there are in fact quite a wide diversity of different ethnic groups and languages. Just a fascinating cultural richness in Laos. Specifically, where we're going to be visiting today is this area along the border of Laos and Vietnam, a mountain range called the Annamite Mountains. And this really came to world attention in 1992 with the discovery of this animal. In 1992, during a survey in Vietnam, the biologists started seeing horns like this in the houses of hunters in the area. And this turned out to be an entirely new species of large mammal, unlike anything known from Southeast Asia before. And the scientists from the study, they went on to publish this paper in the journal Nature, introducing this spectacular new species, Pseudooryx ngatinensis, to the world, which came to be known as the common name of Saula. As you can see, these images, these are from a bronze drum cast perhaps 2,000 years ago in Vietnam from the Dong Son culture. And these drums are typically engraved with the images of animals that were important to these cultures. And you can see this longhorn animal, which is almost certainly a Saula. So the local people have known this animal for a very, very long time. It's just scientists in the outside world that first became aware of it in 1992. So what exactly is a Saula? Well, this is one form of Saula. You can see this spinning wheel that local people that live in the Saula's range use to spin cotton thread. And you'll see those in the front of the spinning wheel, those two long posts, those two long arms that hold up the drum for spinning the thread. Those are about the same size and shape as the Saula's horns. Now this spinning wheel in the Lao language is called a la, and those two posts are called a sao. So we would call those posts the sao la in Lao language. And local people say that's why they call the animal Saula, because their horns remind them of the legs of this spinning wheel. So its common name basically means old spinning wheel posts. So it even has a beautiful name. We don't know much about Saula. This is a camera trap photograph, the first wild photograph that was taken of a Saula with a camera trap a few years after it was discovered in Vietnam. Here's a couple more photos taken in Laos in 1992. Again, photos of wild Saula taken with a camera trap. And the most recent wild photograph of the animal was in 2013. This image taken in Vietnam. You can see the Saula in the yellow circle to the right. We don't know much about the animal. It's very shy, it's solitary, it's not a herd animal, it lives alone in the forest, and it's still never been seen in the wild by a biologist. As you can see, it has two horns, as you can see from some of these photos, but it's gotten the nickname Asian unicorn, not because it has one horn, but because like a unicorn, it's a very, very beautiful animal and very rare and hard to see. As far as we know, almost 20 years after its discovery, Saula has still, 30 years after its discovery, Saula has still not been seen in the wild by a biologist. We also know it from a few captives. I had the good fortune to spend some time with this captive in Laos in 1996. This was caught by local villagers and sent to a small zoo in a district town in Laos. I went down, I was in Laos at the time, I learned about this. This was the first adult Saola seen by the outside world. And I spent the next few weeks watching her around the clock. I nicknamed her Martha after a very calm person in our office at the Wildlife Conservation Society, because this animal was very calm. It was very gentle around people. In fact, the Lao people say that they have a nickname for Saola. They call it the Sat Supap, which means the polite animal, because they say it always just walks slowly and quietly through the forest and never gets upset. And if you can see this from this photo of Martha, it's an incredibly beautiful animal with those white spots and slashes on the sides of the face and the beautiful long sweeping horns, and just her gentle personality makes her an all-around beautiful animal. Where this animal lives is also very special, and I'd like to just take a moment and talk about that. This is a view of the Annamite Mountains. After Saola was discovered in the Annamite Mountains in 1992, then of course biologists started paying more attention to it, and it was soon found to be a global biodiversity hotspot. In this slide, you can see all these beautiful animals, just incredible things, beautiful monkeys and other types of primates. All of these species are only found in this very small mountain range of the Annamite Mountains and nowhere else in the world. And some of them, if you can see the ones that are circled in yellow, have all been discovered just since the Saola in 1992. So you can see there have been 2 new species of deer called barking deer that have been discovered. In the upper right corner, a very strange bald songbird. We don't know why it's bald, but there it is, the only bald songbird in Asia. And just some other amazing animals. So this is one of the most remarkable blocks of habitat on the planet, on our planet Earth, for finding new undiscovered wonders. It's still going on that we didn't know was there. And this is really a wonderful thing. That's a Saola in the middle, as you can see. As I said, when Saola was discovered, it was just such a surprise to biologists all over the world. Nobody believed that an animal like this could go undiscovered into the closing years of the 20th century. But then Saola was quickly followed by many other amazing discoveries in the Annamite Mountains. Unfortunately, all of these animals are under threat. There's considerable issues of conservation challenges in the Annamite Mountains. This is a local ranger, a patrol ranger from these forests, holding a huge stack of wire leg hold snares that he's collected from the forest. What's happened is in the last 20 years, there's been a huge demand developed for animals valued in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, traditional Asian medicine has been known for a very long time, for thousands of years. But due to changes in the economies of China and increasing connections between various countries and better road networks and various other changes, the demand for these animals and the market trade in these animals has just increased tremendously, with some of the prices. For example, there's a small turtle that's found only in the Annamite Mountains, a 3-striped box turtle. If a Lao villager up in the mountains finds one of these turtles, he can sell it to a professional wildlife trader for $30,000 US. $30,000 for one 1-pound turtle, because the turtle is believed to cure cancer in China. So these high prices for these animals and the demand has just brought tremendous poaching pressure and hunting pressure, all of it illegal, to the Annamite Mountains. Hunters aren't specifically targeting the Saola. Because Saola didn't occur in China, the Chinese never knew about it, and so it doesn't have any place in traditional Chinese and Asian medicine. There's no demand for Saola. No one's going out and trying to kill this beautiful animal on purpose. But they're doing so much hunting and setting so many of these snares that Saola is just getting caught up in the general mayhem. This next picture, this is one of the new rare species of deer. As you can see, it was caught by its leg in one of these wire snares and just stayed there and died of thirst and starvation. The poachers only come back to check these snare lines after they set them every couple of weeks. So this is a huge tragedy. This is a adult sowla that was caught in one of these snares by villagers in 2010. They didn't kill it due to the sowla conservation awareness efforts that our members of our group and other groups have been involved in. They didn't kill it, they brought it back to their village in captivity. But it had already been in the snares for about 3 days when they found it. It was already very weak and it was too late to save it, and the animal sadly died shortly after. The same thing happened to Martha, the sowla I got to know in the small zoo. She survived for about 3 weeks. She wasn't under any kind of professional care. She may not have been fed the right things, and she died after about 3 weeks. Unfortunately, we learned after she died that she was also pregnant with a male fetus. So this is a second tragedy. Sowla is now probably the most endangered large mammal in the world, certainly in the top 2 or 3. And we've formed the Sowla Foundation for Annamite Mountains Conservation to do our best to try to save this animal. This is the team we put together, and we're very proud of this team. We're very excited to be working on Sowla conservation. And what we're going to do is mount a huge effort to find the last sowlas in the world and bring some of them into a captive breeding program so they can be saved, while we do our best to conserve the forest areas so sowla has a safe home to be released back into one day from the captive breeding center. We need a lot of support to do this. We're a fairly new organization, and I just want to acknowledge these wonderful, wonderful donors that have helped us develop this program to save sowla. Without them, we couldn't do it. We don't know if we're still in time to save sowla. What we know, I knew from Martha, you could tell that she was an older female sowla. Even though that baby sowla died with her, we were quite sure she had given birth to other sowlas. So her descendants are still out in that forest, and we're just determined to save them. The challenge we have ahead of us is very, very great. There is no guarantee of success. All we can say is that we're going to do the best we can. And I like to think that, this effort, there is no effort that can be wasted. We're going to do our best to save sowla and clean up all these snares out of the forest, reduce the hunting, get really good protection going in the Annamite Mountains. And even if we're not in time to save sowla, all of these efforts will benefit all the many other animals that you saw in those photographs in the Annamite Mountains. So this is our organization's logo. There's one of our collaborators, one of the villagers in the Sowla's range in Laos. The villagers are in fact very happy to work with us on sowla conservation. This is one of the benefits that we have. The problem isn't local people, killing sowla for dinner, for food. The problem is these illegal organized gangs of poachers doing the hunting. The villagers can actually be an asset for us. Sowla doesn't eat their crops. They don't really need to hunt it for food. They have no use for it themselves. So getting their cooperation is actually, we found, quite easy to do, and also very important. Nearly everything we know about sowla has come from talking to local people, because it's so hard for us to see it if we just go in the forest on a survey. But the villagers have their villages in these forests. They're there every day. They're the ones who see the sowla, they know about it, and they know its habits. So their information is very, very important to us, and their partnership is very important to us. And what I've seen is they start developing a pride in having sowla in their local forests. Before sowla is discovered by the outside world, to the villagers, like this little boy's family, for example, or his father, they simply saw sowla as another animal common running around the forest, like, say, wild pigs, and some of the other species that are actually found all over the world. Wild pigs are found in Europe, for example. Some are even introduced to America. What they didn't know until we have had a chance to work with them is that sao la is only found in their forests. In fact, the chief of one of these villages asked me once, he said, "Oh, William, you're from America. There must be lots of sao las in America." And I said, "No, Uncle, there are no sao las in America." And he said, "Oh, well, William, I've heard about this place called Africa, where there's just animals running all over the place. There must be lots of sao las in Africa." I said, "No, Uncle, there aren't any sao las in Africa. There aren't even any sao las next door in Thailand, or next door in Cambodia, or even in other provinces of Laos. The only place in the world there are any sao la are in those forests right behind your house here, and we need your help to save it." You can hear, just the change in him and the pride that he got now to help sao la. If you're interested in learning more and helping us as well, we need everybody if we're going to have a chance to save this beautiful, beautiful animal and keep it on this earth a little while longer. So here's our website address. Please feel free to go there and learn more about sao la. You'll find a way to contact us if you have any questions and would like to know anything more about this beautiful, beautiful animal. Thank you very much.
Activity Connection extends a sincere thank you to Bill Robichaux and the Sao La Foundation for sharing your expertise and raising awareness about this beautiful animal and its unique and delicate habitat. Now, dive even deeper into the land of the Sao La and the culture of the Lao people with a 10-minute bonus presentation brought to you by Activity Connection. This interactive video extra includes an array of review and discussion questions and multimedia content to further enrich the experience. So, without further ado, did you know? Laos is about the size of the state of Michigan, and it is the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia. The western boundary with Thailand is primarily formed by a river. This river is not only a vital transportation route for cargo and passengers, but it is also a lucrative source of hydroelectric power, an essential water supply for crops, and a home to fish, which are a staple food in Lao cuisine. What is the name of this important river that forms the western boundary of Laos? A. Mekong River. B. Yangtze River. C. Ganges River. Answer: A. Mekong River. Most of the country's population lives along this river, which winds more than 2,600 miles from China through Laos to the ocean in South Vietnam. The Mekong River floods the lowland areas of Laos, providing nutrients to grow enough rice and other crops to feed the entire country for a whole year. Along the Mekong River in southern Laos, near the border with Cambodia, you'll find the widest waterfall in the world. Khon Pha Phang Falls is 6 miles wide. 2.5 million gallons of water flow through these falls each second, which is double the rate of Niagara Falls. The eastern boundary between Laos and Vietnam is formed by the mountain range, in which the Sao La are found. Do you recall the name of this mountain range? A. Luang Prabang Range. B. Annamite Range. C. Dan Lao Range. Answer: B. Annamite Range. The Annamite Range is classified as a seasonal tropical forest. This classification indicates that the area receives 39 to 98 inches of rainfall, primarily during the summer wet season, and experiences a cooler winter dry season. As you can see in this diagram, seasonal tropical forests are found along the tropical zone, spanning multiple continents. These forests can be found in several countries, including Brazil, Panama, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and Northern Australia, just to name a few. If you were planning a trip, which of these seasonal tropical forest areas would you like to travel to, and why? And if you have already traveled to one of these areas, please tell us about your adventure. As mentioned in the presentation, the seasonal tropical forest climate and Annamite range terrain is home to many plant and animal species, some being very rare, such as the saola. These areas are teeming with birds, insects, and wildlife. Listen to this recording of the ambient sounds of a tropical forest. Here is a brief glimpse of a few other rare and unique species that inhabit the Annamite range. Annamite striped rabbit. This species of rabbit is striped with a red rump and only recently became known to Western scientists in 1996. Duke langurs. Pictured here is the red-shanked duke with bright maroon legs and reddish patches around the eyes. It has a dappled gray body, black hands and feet, and white cheeks. The long hind limbs and tail of this monkey allow them to be very agile in their treetop habitat. Have a listen to some examples of a Duke langur monkey call. Gaur. The gaur is the largest species of wild cattle. At the top of its muscular hump, located just behind its shoulders, the average adult male is about 6.5 feet tall. Does anyone know the name of this animal that looks like an anteater covered in scales? Answer: pangolin. The pangolin is a rather secretive nocturnal animal. It has an impressive prehensile tail that can hold objects, grasp a branch, or assist with climbing. Pangolins move slowly, and its hard scales serve as a protective cover from predators. When it feels threatened, it curls into a ball. If you could experience living as any one of these unique animals, Annamite striped rabbit, Duke langur, gaur, pangolin, or saola for a week, which would you choose and why? Now that we have touched on the terrain, climate, and animals of the area, let's shift our focus to learn more about the people and culture of Laos. Do you happen to know any information about Lao culture, sports, or food already? One of the main characteristics of Laos is its cultural diversity. The population of Laos is composed of over 60 ethnic groups, which are often categorized by their distribution by elevation: lowlands, midlands, and upper highlands. More than half of the nation's population are lowland inhabitants. Generally, they live in large groups located in valley areas, where it is convenient for trading, planting rice, and other agricultural production. Midlanders are predominantly located in the mountainous and remote areas in the southern part of the country, where they hunt animals and forage for wild plants. The Highland group inhabits the upper slopes of the mountains in northern Laos. Their main source of living is a process of shifting agriculture, in which plots of land are cultivated for a short period of time, then abandoned and allowed to revert to producing its normal vegetation. Do you have any experience gardening, farming, hunting, or foraging? Have you ever lived in or visited a mountainous region? Did it suit you well? In Laos and other Southeast Asian countries, people play a sport called Katao. The game is a bit like volleyball, but players cannot use their hands. Instead, players kick a small, hollow ball made of woven bamboo over a high net. Some people from Laos and neighboring countries also enjoy the sport of rhinoceros beetle wrestling. Young boys and men venture into the jungle to find these large, shiny black beetles and spend months training them to follow basic commands, such as turning left and right or moving backward and forward. The battle occurs on a small log between males, and a winner is declared if one is able to lift the other with its horns, if the losing beetle attempts to escape, or if one beetle does not show an interest in fighting. Have you enjoyed watching or playing any activities similar to Katao or betting on an event? Examples: volleyball, soccer, tennis, badminton, horse racing, wrestling or boxing matches, greyhound races, etc. Last but not least, we can't miss discussing the local food options. With so many cultural groups, a wide range of food is prepared in Lao homes. But here are a few highlights. Sticky rice. Sticky rice is certainly a staple food that you'll find accompanying dishes throughout the day. In Laos, it's served in small baskets, called tip khao, and eaten with the right hand, never the left. Just pinch off a bit, roll it into a ball, dip, and munch away. Lab. Lab is a salad of minced meat mixed with herbs, spices, lime juice, and often several chilies. This is the national dish, so it is a must-try for visitors. It is sometimes prepared with raw meat. Have you ever eaten raw meat before? Would you try it again or for the first time? Papaya salad. Another popular Lao dish is a papaya salad called tam mar kung. This version is dressed with fermented crab and a flavorful fish sauce. Do you consider yourself an adventurous eater? Tell us about some interesting food experiences you or anyone you know have had abroad or at home. Before we wrap up, we must not forget to save room for dessert. Popular desserts in Laos include Kanam Kok, a small spherical pudding made from coconut milk, tapioca, and ground rice. You also might encounter a sweet custard that is steamed and served in a bright orange pumpkin called Sang Kayamairu. Lastly, sticky rice served with mango or durian fruit is another popular treat. This is prepared with coconut milk and sweetened with sugar. This concludes our Activity Connection interactive video extra about Laos. As always, thank you for joining us.